week's racing-based preview of Victoria Derby Day. As usual, I'm joined by Rick Chapman, and Rick and I will dissect the races and see if we can come up with a few winners for you guys. So, Rick, great day of racing coming up, mate. 4 Group 1s. Looking forward to this one?
Always looking forward to Super Saturday down in Flemington. Brilliant day, great fields, and let's get amongst the winners.
Okay, mate. Well, let's kick off with the first one. It looks a foregone conclusion if Exosphere turns up down the straight. But how do you see the Coolmore Stud Stakes playing out?
Well, as you just pointed out, there's 2 Exospheres, one that doesn't put in and one that puts in and is a world beater. You would have to think that everything is made to order for him for the straight 6 down there. I think he wins and wins easy. I have a healthy respect for Hellbent because I think he might be a really special horse, but he's no superstar. None of them are superstars other than Exosphere, and he could even break the course record. In fact, I'll make that claim right now. Exosphere goes close to breaking the course record.
I think you're right, Rick. His finishing burst is better than anything in the race, and if he's within striking distance, he just wins. But in playing the race, there's no value with Exosphere, so I'm going to be going for the place, Rick. I like Ready for Victory, Mick Price's horse. As we all know, Flemington straight track form, you need that experience down the straight. He's been down the straight twice for a win and a third, which should have been a win. I like the fact he's dropping back to 1,600 to 1,200, and I think he's going to be rock hard fit. If Oliver gets out on him early and gets going, you know he's going to be running through the line, and I think at good odds, he was $4.60 for the place. I'll just play around him and watch Exosphere win and hopefully collect on Ready for Victory.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. I'll be having Exosphere and Hellbent and Exacta. And Chris Waller's very big on Japona's mate too, so he might run a big race. But he's a different horse to these Exosphere, the real Exosphere, and he's been on his best behaviour this time in, so you'd have to have him on top and to win very easily and in super fast time because they're going to go quick. That horse from Singapore Super 1 can go fast, so can Ragazzo del Corsa. So, yeah, great race coming up.
Yep, can't wait to see it. All right, mate, let's get on to the next Group 1. We've got the Mackinnon Stakes. How do you see that one playing out?
Wow, half of the Cox Plate field, the beaten half of the Cox Plate field turning up, and that form tends to stand up in the Mackinnon Stakes. You on that form, you'd have to go for Pornichet because he beat them all home. But can he do it again? I think he nearly can. I've got a healthy respect for Galo Chop this time simply because of the way the race will be run. I think he'll go forward and be a lot more relaxed, and the pace won't be anywhere near as savage as it was last week in the Cox Plate, and it certainly won't be a savage from the 800 onwards. So I've got probably a leaning towards Galo Chop to win from Pornichet. And obviously, Stratum Star is very, very consistent, so he's going to have to be finishing on hard for third.
Right, mate, I think you should have stopped when you mentioned that first horse because Pornichet is the winner. I'm a big fan of peak patterns, Rick, and last campaign, Gay took him into the Doomben Cup at his 6th run from a spell. He was on the 1 week backup and absolutely belted them. He was most impressive that day. He comes into the Mackinnon at his 6th run from a spell off the 1 week backup. And as you said, coming out of the Cox Plate, 5 of the last 6 Mackinnons have been won by Cox Plate runners, and there's plenty more littered through the history of the race. It is the form race to follow. And I think following that peak pattern and looking at Pornichet, he's on an upward spiral. No one gave him any hope last week. He was 70 to 1, ran a massive race. So he's trending upwards. I think Pornichet will belt them on Saturday, and I'll be having a massive go at him.
Well, good on you. Did you have a massive go on Highland Rule last week?
Yes, I did. Thanks for bringing that up, mate. I did. I kept backing him, especially with the leader bias track at Moonee Valley. I backed him more. But, geez, Winks was so impressive.
I noticed as the day went on when you were going through your discussions on the racing base link there with Facebook that the leader bias was making you feel more and more buoyed about Highland Reel. But, yeah, he's a super horse, but one's a champion. So that was why I was on Winks. But, we talked about Pornichet, and it was subject of a magnificent ride last start to get him into fourth spot in the Cox Plate in what will be, I think, historically a brilliant Cox Plate field. This Galo Chop was only about a length and a half behind him in the same race. So anyway, I think we're on the money with Pornichet being one of the two best, but I'm going to be having my biggest bet in that race on Galo Chop.
All right, mate. I'm super confident in Pornichet, so I'm really looking forward to that one, Rick. We'll see how it plays out. Okay, on to the big one for the day, the Victoria Derby. 3-year-olds get tested over that grueling 2,500 metres. How do you see this one coming along?
Well, $1.5 million race, and I respect the form of the West Australian horse, Kia Oro Kutu. Winning form is always hardest to beat, but gee whiz. You talked about the leader bias, and it was none more apparent in the race that Tarzino was in, and he bucked it by coming from so far back. He wins this and wins it by 5 lengths.
Yeah, he did go against the pattern of the day, which makes his, the way he ran on even more impressive, Rick, doesn't it? So he looks the horse to beat, but you mentioned the Perth horse, Kia Oro Kutu. I'm sticking with him. He's unbeaten in 4 starts. I watched his trial at Lark Hill over 1,450, and he was pretty good. And the 2 horses he beat, you never know in trials, but Adam Durant trained the 2nd and 3rd place getters as well. And although they're yet to start, he's convinced they're both Saturday grade. And the way that this stayer just ambled up over 1,400 and he literally cantered past them, he's absolutely flying this horse. And I think if there is a danger to Tarzino, it's definitely the Perth horse. And maybe he can emulate the deeds of Plastered when he came over and took the Derby for WA quite a few years ago.
Well, we just don't know. We talked about Pornichet being on an upward spiral. Well, obviously this young horse is too, and he's by a Derby winner who can produce a good horse in Blackfriars. But I just there's something special about Tarzino, and I think he wins and wins very easily. And Lizard Island will be right there for 2nd, and I'll probably toss your horse in for 3rd. But looks like a good Derby coming up without being a super Derby. But we might have a standout here in Tarzino.
Sure, and on breeding, you just mentioned Blackfriars, Rick. He has a good knack of throwing up some good staying 3-year-olds. So he's produced recent Derby and Oaks winners in WA. So I like the breeding there as well. He's out of a Jeune mare as well. So this horse will get the trip. And like I said, if he's on an upward spiral, he'll threaten Tarzino. And I just like the odds as well at $9. I thought he was a good each-way bet.
I just wonder if he'll get caught on the fence and can't get out in time. But anyway, time will tell.
Well, actually, Rick, Barrier 1 is the most successful barrier in the Derby in recent years. You've got 5 winners coming from that gate in the last 30 years. So, I'm not worried about the inside gate.
Fair enough. Can't talk you out of it. Very good.
All right, my classic, mate. What's going to win there?
Oh, well, I just wrote the story about this race, and I really think this is the day that we see the rise of Royal Descent. Best miler in the race, best horse in the race. Completely forgive last week's, the last start's Caulfield Cup run. Was slaughtered, had no possible chance from the 600 onwards. And I was very pleased to see that Glenn Boss, when he realised the horse had no chance with 500 to go, just started to ease her out of the race because she was gone. Preserve her for this. She's been freshened. She's been to the beach several times in the last 2 weeks. She's bucking her brands off. I think she wins and wins this comfortably. And I really hope that Huey is allowed to let her settle instead of going forward. If she can settle back midfield or so, I think she just smashes them. Just class wins races. Like Usain Bolt versus you and me, he'd win. So, and I just think that's how it is here. Royal Descent's just better than these.
Yeah, I'm with you there, mate. This is she is the class horse in the race without a doubt. She's been racing against the top liners, nearly all of her career, and especially the last few campaigns, she literally just doesn't go into anything other than the top line races. So, the rest of these against her, they're good horses without being top line. So, at the weights, 57 kilos, she meets a lot of them on the same weight. I think she looks a standout. Barrier 5 should get a great run. Stay With Me is the query horse. She was very impressive and gets in with 49 kilos, but that wide gate's thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to stick with Royal Descent. And Darren Weir's La Passe, bookies keep underestimating this horse. Goes around at 20-1 and wins. Goes around at 20-1 and wins. Go around at 20-1 again. I'll have something each way on the Passe as well.
Yeah, well, she was very impressive last start at big odds, as you say. But again, it's the class factor. And Solicit and May's Dream, I think, are superior horses. Stay With Me is the query because that was a phenomenal win last start. That was a win of an outstanding racehorse. But, it's a big ask to step up from 3-year-old class to take on a bona fide Group 1 horse. And Rod Sense contested 17 Group 1 races in her career. I just can't wait for this race, to be honest. And if they serve up 10-12-1, well, I'll be sitting here next week with money in my hand like this.
Yeah, she's $6, the best odds I can see at the moment, Rick. So still leaves her at good value, I think, $6. Okay, mate, best for the weekend?
The best for the weekend, well, obviously her, Exosphere, Tarzino, and, well, the ones... I just want to mention a 2-year-old race at Rose Hill tomorrow because the best bet of the day is absolutely Bassett, the first race in the Carbine Club Stakes, Flemington. It's just like putting money in and stealing it. I think Bassett just wins and wins comfortably.
Yeah, I've tipped Bassett as well.
The 2-year-old race in Sydney, there are 2 outstanding racehorses in it that have never been to the racetrack, and I say that because I've watched them in trials. One's called Broome, for Paul Perry, and the other one's the Team Snowden horse. I wish they weren't in the same race because I would have had a huge go on either one. But I'll probably have the bigger bet on Broome. But the other one, I just can't remember its name. It's Team Snowden's Time for War or something like that. It's not that. War King. Makes me look a bit silly because I haven't got the race field in front of me. But anyway, you know the ones if you look at it. Great day of racing. I love getting in early, and the race 1 in both Melbourne and Sydney will get us money tomorrow.
All right, there's a few for the punters to keep an eye out for anyway, Rick, and hopefully we can all have a winning day. It's going to be a great day of racing. We've got, the 4 Group 1s, and the rest of them are all group races at Flemington. So, and a couple you've pointed out in Sydney. Plenty to choose from, plenty to fill our pockets and enjoy a great day of racing.
Yeah, remember, punting's easy, and we'll back up again for another hangout on Saturday night when we do horse by horse in the Melbourne Cup too. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to that one, Rick. It's like Christmas Day for me, Melbourne Cup Day.
Favourite day of the year.
Absolutely. All right, best of luck, guys, and we'll see you on Saturday for our Melbourne Cup preview.
Yeah, all the best.